Hey friends, we are back, and I kind of feel like I have been running my own little axolotl factory over here while I've been getting ready for this video. This is our official axolotl roundup, at least part one, because honestly I found, there is just a massive amount of axolotl patterns out there. I chose 6 to go over with today, and that is not even all the ones I bought and free ones that I saved. But it seemed like a good place to start. I made them all, some of them multiple times, most of them multiple times. And I can't wait to kind of break it down and show you what happened and let you know which patterns I love and that I'll be making again and again, which ones I might make again, and the ones that I just am not, I don't see myself doing anymore. First, I took a few clips, just a few, when I was going through the process of making some of these. So I'm gonna play those for you real quick, and then I'm gonna meet you back here to give you all the details on each pattern that we did. So hang tight, I will be right back. Hey guys, so I am working my way through these axolotl patterns, and I just thought I'd give a quick update while I'm doing it. This one is from Crochet Grove. It's my second time making it, and it's a good pattern. It's a good pattern. It's written well. She gives good tips. There's a video link for parts if you get confused. It works up really easy. I think I can do better, so I'm gonna work on that one. This one is the pattern that I got off Ribbler. I'm gonna tell you guys all about it. This is a hot mess. This started out so promising. I'm like, this is gonna be adorable. This head is nice and big and chunky. I like it. And then it it's like someone got tired of writing the pattern and just ended it. Also, my eye placement, I think, is bad. It asked for 5 stitches between, which is what I have, but I used bigger eyes and they look wonky. So I'm gonna try this one again and see if I can't just figure out a way to save this guy. That's what I got for now. Do I have anybody else? I'll be back to update you as I work on more. Okay guys, what a difference a hook size makes. This one looks so much better, much happier, and it worked out super quick. So on to the next one. You guys, I have to show you this. It is the cutest, tiniest little axolotl I've ever made. This one's kind of a mess because it's the first time I made it, that they never turn out the best the first time I make it. Oh, teeny tiny legs. It's super cute. I also think I need to make it in blanket yarn. So I'm gonna make it again in blanket yarn. Maybe again in parfait or sweet snuggles. We'll see. I can't wait to show you guys this one. It's so cute. It is a little like baby. I think it's called a baby lotl. I'm gonna make another one in burnout baby, I think. I've already picked out the colors, so I'm gonna get that done now. Does anyone else have a terrible time adding blush? We'll talk about that too. Okay, so here we are. You guys can see it was kind of an adventure. I only showed you a few clips of a few of the axolotls that I was playing around with. I want to say first and foremost, all of these patterns are good patterns. I know people put a lot of time and effort into these. Some of these that aren't my favorites might be your favorites. That's okay. We all have kind of a different way of working. So please don't get offended if the pattern that you love is not the same patterns that I love. That's okay. Keep using what works for you. I think that's part of the beauty of our community, right? Everybody's so supportive. And when you are working in fiber arts, everything's going to be a little different. No two things are ever going to be exactly the same. And that's okay. That's, in fact, better than okay. That's beautiful. There are just some patterns that are going to work better for me than others. And I feel like I should tell you guys that. So I'm going to be really brutally honest here. After noting that these are in fact all good patterns, none of these patterns were terrible. Here we go. This first one is a free pattern that I found on Ribbler. I'm gonna put the pictures up so you guys can see them as we go along. We'll also all be linked down below. So this pattern was free on Ribbler, and it was called a No Sew Axolotl pattern. And that is my first issue with this pattern, is that it is in fact not no sew. I don't think. Let's start from the beginning. So things that I liked about this pattern, it is all in one piece. This is all one piece. These fins or gills are worked into the patterns. Those are no sew. And when you get to the bottom here, this little fin at the bottom, the directions just say to chain 5 and attach. To me, attach means sew, which is not what I think the intention was. I don't know if that's what the creator of this pattern meant, but I can tell you that I tried it a couple different ways, but I didn't sew them. Didn't feel like that was in the spirit of the pattern. And since it only said attach, I felt like that left it up to my interpretation. Anyway, I did this first pattern here I did it with a 5mm hook and the Hobby Baby Snuggle yarn. I think the body of this has a lot of potential until you get to about here. This looks great to me. I liked how this went together. It worked up really good. The eye position, this is how the pattern was written, was this eye position. I feel like these are a little far apart. It asked for 5 visible stitches, and there are 5 visible stitches here. I don't know. Also, I feel like this pattern ends abruptly. I think that this tail could be extended a little bit. I think I would like it better like that. I could make those adjustments myself and make this pattern work for me, but there are so many good patterns. I don't think I'm gonna do that. This one, I used eyes that were too small because I just grabbed some real quick. So these are definitely in contrast. This one also has 1, 2, 3, 4 visible stitches in between. I feel like that's a little bit better, but still I'm not sure the eye placement's quite right on that. I would probably play around with it myself if I were doing this one myself. And honestly, so the second try, this try was the 5.0mm with the Hobby yarn. This was a 4.5mm with Parfait Chunky. They're pretty similar. This one's definitely a tiny bit bigger. You can see it better, maybe the end of the head here, you can kind of see. This one's definitely a little chunkier. It's not a bad pattern. And just to note, this one took me about 45 minutes to make. This is the first pattern. We're gonna get back to it at the end when we talk about which ones I will and won't make again. You guys might start to get some clues as we go through, but let me show you the next pattern. Let's say this. I love a pattern with a good name, and this pattern had the best name. I literally only got this pattern because of its name. It's called an AxoLITTLE. AxoLITTLE, right? Isn't that cute? Because it's called an AxoLITTLE, I bought it. Also, it is available free. So this one, I will try to link both versions in the comments. There's a free version on Instagram. I did buy the PDF version. It was only $1.80 when I bought it. And I wanted to have it so that I could mark it up. I like to put these in my Notability app, and I like to make notes on them. So you can see, I put the cost. I'll just kind of show you guys. I put the cost here. I have like what I made, what hook sizes I used, any thoughts I have about the pattern as I go through it. I find that super helpful to me if I ever go back to make that pattern again. This AxoLITTLE is the cutest little thing, guys. Which one did I make first? I made this one first. This is made out of Parfait Chunky, and I used a 5mm hook in this yellow and green. And check it out. It's the cutest stinking little axolotl ever. I mean, it is so tiny, even compared to this one that was kind of small. Look how tiny he is. He is so little. I love him. Anyway, things that were hard about this, it's just so tight and so little. And I say it all the time, I have big hands, but it makes things that are really tiny sometimes really hard for me. And I feel like you guys don't understand how big my hands are. I like wear a size 11 ring on my ring finger. Lots of people wear a 5 or 6 or 7 or an 8. I wear size 11. I have huge hands. I don't know why. My mom has the teeniest, tiniest hands. Anyway, these are so cute. I did this. This one took me 38 minutes to make. Second time through, I did it in Parfait Chunky, this pink and this yellow, and I used a smaller hook. I used a 4mm hook on this. Why did I do that? That was ridiculously small. I did that because on this one, I felt like there were just a couple of places where the holes were just a little bigger. You can kind of see the green, like it's hard to even hide that green yarn underneath. You can kind of see there, here by the legs. These holes are just a little big for how tiny this little axolotl is. So I tried it in a 4.0. I like it in the 4.0. I think I would make it in the 4.0 again, even though it's really tiny and hard to work with sometimes. I really like it. I used 8mm eyes on both of these. This is by Mel's Crocheted Shop on Etsy, and I will link that and her Instagram down below. The second time I made this in this pattern, it took me 30 minutes. So I saved 8 minutes. 38 minutes the first time, 30 minutes this time. And then I made it a third time. And this time I made it in Bernat because I wanted to see how much bigger it turned out. So in Bernat, my little axolotl looks like this compared to my other guy, much closer in size. Compared to my little one, you can see it's like twice the size as this little Parfait Chunky one. And this was a little bit easier for me to work up. I used what hook did I use? I used a 6.5mm hook because that's what the girl who wrote the pattern did. And I think it looks great. And this one only took me 23 minutes because I was getting good at it by this point and I made them in a row. So I kind of knew what I was doing. And this yarn is just that much easier for me to work with. The Parfait was so tight, the space, and it was a little slippery. I would do the Parfait Chunky again because, oh my God, how do you not love that guy? But this was definitely faster and easier for me. Also, there are some things about the pattern that were tough. It doesn't really tell you eye size or eye placement anywhere. So I was just winging it. I used 10mm. These were 8mm eyes on these. It also doesn't tell you when to place the eyes. And it doesn't do that for a very intentional reason that I didn't love. So you're working down, and I was like here the first one before I realized, oh, I didn't put the eyes in. There's no place there where it says, hey, stop now and put the eyes in. So I was looking at the directions, and the designer of this pattern suggests that you don't place the eyes until the end and that you glue them in. I don't love just gluing in the eyes. I don't mind adding glue to make them stay a little better. I don't mind adding felt to make them stay a little better. Just gluing them in does not feel like a strong choice to me. I didn't do that. I made sure I placed these eyes once I had these legs made so that I could kind of tell where they needed to go. That's when I went ahead and placed these eyes. The previous pattern, the gills were worked into the pattern. They're not exactly the same here. Here, what we did is we did leave some front loops so that we could work these in later, but these were attached after the fact. It was not hard, and because you had the front loops, I didn't have that problem with symmetry that I sometimes do when you're just winging it to attach things. All in all, I really do like this pattern. The only big red flag for me is that I wouldn't glue the eyes in. And that's just a personal preference. Lots and lots of people only glue eyes in. So that might be you. You might really do that. And if you do, and you have strong opinions on it, let me know. I'm open to, I could be convinced to think differently. I just feel like those gotta have a better chance of coming out. I don't know. If you guys have thoughts, let me know. Okay, so this was pattern number 2. I do like it. It is adorable. I'm especially in love with my teeny tiny. What is our next pattern? Okay, let's talk about this pattern. I know my color choices here are maybe not the best. Honestly, I was just looking for fun colors to play with. And so, I don't know, I kind of like him, but also I don't think I would do this color combo again. But this axolotl turned out, he looks really nice. Look, his legs are super adorable. His fin, super cute. His shape of his body, I think, is really nice. This pattern is by Toys Melena AU on Etsy. And I paid $3.19 for this axolotl pattern. There are so many good things about this pattern. And there are so many things that aren't my favorite. I would not call this a beginner pattern. And one of the big reasons is I suspect that the person who designed this pattern is not an English speaker. She probably had some help to translate because some of the translations aren't super clear. And to make up for that, there are a whole bunch of videos in this pattern to help you see, but there's no voiceover for them. You just kind of have to follow along with what she's doing. I'm okay with that, but I don't think it makes it super easy for a beginner. And this is written in rows instead of rounds. And if you don't know what that means, this pattern is written and it tells you at the end of every row to slip stitch and then chain one to start the next row. That's not really what most of us do when we're making amigurumi. We just keep spiraling around. So that's what I did. I did it that way for two reasons. One, because I prefer that. And two, because the instruction about the row, slip stitch, and chain one came after I had already made the first section. I was already, let me look. I was already on row 8. I was already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right before the gills. This, I finished all of these, and then it said at the bottom of that screen, by the way, at the end of each row, slip stitch and chain one. I'm like, that ship has sailed. So I didn't do that, and I wouldn't have anyway. But a beginner might get confused if they see those kinds of things. Okay, so I made this with hobby yarn. I used a 5.0 millimeter hook, and it took me over an hour. It took me about 75 minutes to make this guy. I like him enough that I think he might be worth that amount of time if I was making him for a specific reason. I really like the shape of this body. It just feels less cartoony and more finished. I don't know, there's just something very sleek about the way this body looks. And I love these little legs with the toes. I think they look really nice. Also, after row 8 here, it tells me where to place the eyes, which is great. I like early directions on where to place the eyes. However, I have no idea where I would place the eyes at that point, because I don't know about you guys, but I'm not really good about figuring out as we move forward where the legs are gonna be. So I did not place the eyes when we were instructed to. I made the choice to wait until after we got past the legs, so I made sure that the eyes were on top and centered where I wanted them. I did make that, and that's one of the other upsides to using my Notability app, is that I make that notation on my pattern, so next time I make it, I know that. But these were all reasons why this pattern took me so much time, I think, to make. I think it would be much faster if I did it again. I did not do it again because it was such a time investment and I really wanted to move on, but I don't know. Yeah. The other tricky part is that it's by the time I got to the legs, it had already asked me to stuff this before it asked me to put the eyes in. So that was kind of out of order too. So I didn't stuff it. In fact, I did stuff it, but I pulled the stuffing out so that I could put the eyes in. There's just some clunky things about this pattern. End result, absolutely beautiful. The gills and the tail fin were added after the fact. They were crocheted on, so it is a no sew once you've made the body. End result, beautiful. Pattern, kind of clunky for me. And I wouldn't recommend it for someone who's not comfortable adapting a pattern to make it what you want. If you are not someone who does that, who changes the patterns or sees how something's not going to work for you and is able to make those adaptations, this is not a pattern I would choose for you. All right, we are making good progress. All right, I'm gonna do this pattern next. It's a big one, and you guys have seen this one before. In fact, this one has a price tag on it because it went to my market with me, and I have made quite a few of these. This is an axolotl pattern from Pawgy's place. And I wasn't going to include it because I didn't actually make it as part of this, but I thought it was worth adding it to this roundup. Not gonna lie, I love this pattern. I made this with burlap blanket. I used a 6.5 millimeter hook. This is completely no sew. I love the body shape here. I love how far the neck goes in. It really makes that good definition between the neck and the body, or the head and the body. These feet, I love. They're not baubles and they're not the chain. They're kind of a hybrid, and you do add them on after you've made the body. And I really like how those come out. The directions on this are very clear. The pictures are really great. I love lots and lots and lots about this pattern. The only thing I would say, and I can't even tell you exactly how I did it, but on this pattern, but the actual directions for this fin and these gills, I felt were a little excessive. The amount of stitches they put into these, I felt like I could achieve the effect I wanted with like half that amount of stitches, or at least a third less. So maybe 2/3 of the stitches. After, it does look good when you make it exactly how the pattern says, but it is cumbersome, maybe is the word. It does take a lot more time than I would think. This takes me an easy 1.5 hours to make. And I don't think it needs to. I think that I could make it faster. And so I started eliminating some of the stitches and prioritizing what I wanted this to look like to make it look how I wanted. So again, I've adapted this pattern myself since having first made it. And I think that works fine. I mean, I think this still looks really good. I feel like these still look really good. And I did sell a couple of these at my market for $35, in case you wondered. I like this pattern. I think it makes up so nice and big. Okay, so this pattern is $4.99 on Etsy. She does have a smaller one that includes a keychain, which is basically just the head, the smaller version. And I have not tried that one. I did just purchase it because I purchased all the axolotl patterns. So I will be making it, but I haven't made it yet. But I really like this one. Honestly, it's really fun to make. There's nothing hard about it. There's nothing tricky about it. Like you get into some of these and when you're adding on and doing the color changes, there's nothing like that. This is all one straight color, the whole body, no color changes. And then you just add this on in whatever color. I mean, it's a piece of cake, honestly. It's super relaxing to make. I really do enjoy it. The only part I don't like is how extra these frills are. And so I make them a little less extra for myself. So another really good pattern. Okay, moving right along. I have so many patterns, guys. I'm sorry this is taking so long. I made way too many. And I know I told you guys, but I did not do them all. I did not do them all. All right, this one is a free pattern. This is a free pattern on Instagram. My daughter loves this one. She thinks it's super cute. We have some thoughts though. I think as this looks right here, it's super cute. As you turn it, that is a seriously chunky body for this little head, I think. I used a 4.5 millimeter hook. This is Sweet Snuggles yarn, both of them. I used 14 millimeter eyes on this guy. It is not no sew. This head and this body are made separately. I actually went and made a second body. I didn't finish it, but I wanted to know if it was just chunky because I did something wrong or if it was just chunky. So as it turns out, it's just chunky. The body is just chunky. And I think I feel like that doesn't look balanced, which is the only thing that is really holding me a little back on this pattern. My daughter thinks that this head should be placed like this, like this. She feels like she would like it better if it was made like this. Absolutely, probably. But then you might as well make one of these guys, right? You might as well make something like this. So that was her preference. Also, when I made it like this, it has you end the pattern right here and then attach it to the head. It's kind of it seemed even more obnoxiously chunky then. So I did close this hole up pretty small, not all the way, but pretty small, so that it would be easier for me to attach to the body, to the head. I did do that. It's an easy pattern. The sewing, you only are sewing the head. These, I did have to redo a few times. I still felt like I wasn't getting it as symmetrical as I wanted. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Too chunky? I mean, from this view, it looks super stinking cute. And it is a free pattern. Also, I love this yarn combo. It is a free pattern. I can't tell you how much I love the free patterns. All these people that make and give away free patterns, cheers to you. You guys are amazing. Thank you for doing that for us. Here we go, moving right along. We still have 3 more patterns. We have 3 more patterns to do. You guys, every time I think I'm gonna make a shorter video, this happens. If you guys need to come back later, come back later. This is the No Sew Jumbo Axolotl pattern from Nat's Crochet Creation. I paid $3.50 for this cutie on Etsy. Nat's Crochet Creation, you might also know her because she has the free alligator pattern that I think a lot of people like to make, myself included, on Instagram. I'll put that picture up just so you see. I really love that, and this is just honestly a variation of that amazing alligator pattern. And this is Parfait Chunky XL Jumbo yarn. Can I just tell you how good this feels? This pink jumbo yarn. Both of these are the same, Parfait XL. So cute. And look at these adorable eyes that I got from 6060 Eyes on Etsy. All right, $3.50. I used jumbo yarn. I used a I can tell you. I used a 5mm hook. Color me skeptical. I did not think that I was gonna be happy with a 5mm hook on this, but I tried it because that's what the pattern called for, and I think it worked out beautifully. I had a little extra, the yarn would slip off my hook a little more frequently with the smaller hook size, and that might just take getting used to because I don't really ever do jumbo yarn with a 5mm. I usually use more like a 6 or 6.5, but I think it turned out beautiful, and it feels so tight and solid, and the legs are so cute. This pattern was really fun, honestly. Oh, there is a free version. She has a smaller free version on Instagram too. I will try and link that as well, so you guys can try that out first. It's a little different when I was looking at the patterns. I did purchase the bigger one, the jumbo one from Etsy. I did find an error in the pattern, and that's always frustrating when you find an error. It was 6 rows in, maybe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, it was the row where the gills are. And the problem was that it stated that there should be 24 stitches at the end, and there in fact were, but that line of stitches only accounted for 18. So I ended up with these empty stitches, and I'm like, wait, what? I haven't made it all the way to my stitch marker yet. And I think it instead of saying, it said 2 single crochets at the end of that row, and it should have said 7. So it wasn't a huge error. It was just something that gave me pause and slowed me down a little bit. This one took me 58 minutes to make this pattern. So these are worked into the pattern. This is put on after. I think the proportions on this pattern are great. I don't really have much else to say about it. This was not hard to work up. I really enjoyed it. And I'm excited to try the free version from Instagram. All right, 2 more. This is one of the more popular patterns that I found. This is the, what are you called? This is the Baby Axolotl by Crochet Grove. And I had made one before, but it has sold at my market. I bought this pattern on Etsy for $4.27 when I bought it. Look at that, it is so cute. I love this palm yarn so much. It just adds such a sweet flair. I made this 2 different times. The first time I made it, it took me 48 minutes and 30, and I'm gonna tell you, I know exactly why that is. And it's a good reason. Part of the reason it took me so long to make this particular pattern is because she has videos for these tricky parts. around how you make the gills, how you decrease around the gills, how you add this on. There are videos for all those parts. And so stopping to watch the videos and do through the videos slowed me down a little bit on these. Second time I made it, it took me 29 minutes. 29 minutes the second time I made it, or the third time I made it. So huge improvement. I used a 5mm with this one and a 4mm with this one. You can see there's just a tiny little difference between the two, but really they're both stinking adorable. I actually just made this one this morning because I just wanted to make it one more time. The other thing is this pattern, it's a little more expensive than some of the others, $4.27, but it also comes with 2 bonus patterns of a little boba and a little heart that are super cute. And she has a bigger axolotl that's sitting that can hold those items, which is also super stinking cute. I liked this pattern so much more than I expected to. And I don't know why I expected to not like it. Everybody likes it. For some reason, I had it in my head that this was not gonna be my favorite pattern. I was just like, I'm gonna get it because it's so popular. Crochet Grove is so popular. I don't have any other Crochet Grove patterns, although I might get some now. And I thought this, I just don't know. I don't know about these. It looked pretty simple. Some of the little patterns I had been kind of hit or miss for me in the past, but I don't have anything bad to say about this pattern. Honestly, I don't have anything bad to say about this pattern. If I'm really, really nitpicking, she doesn't specifically tell you what size eyes she recommends, but that's really reaching for a nitpick on this pattern. I think these kawaii eyes look good. I think these maybe are super cute too, but a little small. I would have gone up maybe to it. These are 8mm. I probably should have gone up to at least a 10 or a 12, but I have nothing bad to say about that pattern. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. And I have one more pattern for you. And I saved this one because it is the most different of all the patterns. I think I gave you a sneak peek of one of them. This is the Baby Lottle. And this is by Madeline Mako. And this pattern only costs $1.50. I'm gonna link it. It is marketed as a low sew pattern. I made it twice. The first time I did it with Parfait Chunky and a 4mm hook. And the second time I did it in Bernat. So Parfait Chunky and Bernat with a 6.5mm hook. I just loved it. Honestly, it's easy, it's quick. This one took me like about 45 minutes the first time I made it. This one took me more like 36 minutes. Here's my problem with this pattern. Let me tell you my problem with this pattern. And if you can relate, comment down below. I have no idea how to add blush. Is this the most awkward looking blush that has ever been added to an axolotl? Or does it look okay? Every time I go to put blush, I can put it in the exact same stitches that I see in the picture. I can count how many rows down and how many stitches, and I can add the blush and I still feel like it looks awkward. Is it just me? Do you have any tips for that? Or does anyone else have blush anxiety? I don't add blush to a lot of things because of this, but these, I felt like they need something on the face because there's just not a lot involved. All right, that's my only complaint about the pattern, and that has absolutely nothing to do with the pattern designer. This tail, you do have to sew on. It's really the only thing that you have to sew on. These are worked onto the head after the fact. They turned out pretty darn cute. The head is worked as part of the body. You just keep going up. The arms are crocheted in as you're going up the rounds. The only thing you sew on is this tail. It's cute, it's little, it sews on super easy and quick. And then you add this frill on here. And I think this is really cute. I am really curious to see if this is a popular market make. I really enjoyed making it. I would be happy to make it again, but I don't know if people are gonna be drawn to this as much as they're drawn to like something that actually looks like an axolotl to them. But I'm curious. So I'm gonna bring these to my next market and we're gonna see what happens. I'm gonna price them out. I'm only gonna make these 2 for now and we're gonna see what people think of them. I don't know, what do you guys think? Are these gonna be good sellers? I'm not sure. What does that leave us with? We have 1, then 8. We ended with 8 patterns. I think I told you guys we were only gonna have 6. We actually ended up with 8 patterns. That is a lot. But now I want to talk about which ones I do intend to use again and which ones I'm not. I think it will be no surprise to you to know that this one, I don't think I'll make again. There's just too much that just doesn't work for me on this pattern and that I did not enjoy in making it. I don't love the way this bottom turned out, either way I did it. I do not like how this just abruptly ends. I felt like this was kind of an awkward pattern. I probably won't be doing this one again. I also don't think I will be doing this one again, just because I can't get over how, like, it does look like it should be, maybe this should be a dinosaur body with a dinosaur head coming off of it or something. This looks like a this way body on a this way axolotl. And I'll try and sell this one. I will put this one on my market. It's really cute. I will not be at all surprised if it sells because it is cute, but I don't think I'll make this again. Also, I didn't like the process. It wasn't an easy sew on the head. The way that the directions went, the head was a little more challenging to sew on than, say, like the tail on this guy. This was super easy to sew on. This was not so easy, the way these two pieces went together. So this is going in the I will probably not make again. And the other one that I probably will not make again is this one, which I'm a little sad about because I do think it's really pretty, but the pattern was just a little too frustrating for me going through the pattern. And I don't love it enough. It is a very pretty axolotl, but I have all these other options that I really had more fun making and enjoyed more. And this one, I don't think is gonna be something I'm gonna gravitate back towards. Ones that I will make again, I will make this one again, although it's probably like in third or fourth place of the ones I'll make again. I will make it again. I do like it. It makes it pretty easy. I'm used to it now. These are just, you cannot underestimate how much time these take. And so I just want to emphasize that these just take extra time. Normally I make the body and I feel like, okay, that took me 30 minutes. This is a pretty good pattern, but I can spend another 20 minutes just adding these frills. And so that makes this pattern almost twice as long for me to make, which is okay. But I will make it. I won't make it quite as often as some of the others. This one, I might make again. I might make this one again because I do like it. It was easy. It was fun. I'm just not sure how marketable it is. And I will definitely make this one again. It is so similar to the alligator. I could see myself knocking out some axolotls and alligators and kind of just being in a vibe there in a day and just knocking out both of them and being pretty happy. I feel like, if I'm being really honest, half of the reason I like this one so much is I just wish you could feel it. This Parfait XL yarn, this particular Parfait XL yarn is so soft. I could just carry this one around all day with me. So that might be a little unfair, but also still a very good pattern. So now I'm going to show you my favorites. My two favorites is, if you're paying attention, you know already what they are these little, this is my second. This would be second place for me, are these AxoLittles. They were hard to make because they are so small, but so cute. And how cute would that be on a little keychain? I just think it's really cute, guys. The little legs. I mean, big fan of these littles. Big fan. Did I say that enough times? Big, huge fan. These I will be making again for sure. And this is a free pattern on Instagram. You can buy it on Etsy, but it's also free on Instagram. Winner, right? Highly recommend. Go make this one. And then my number one favorite, which is a surprise to no one but me, is this baby axolotl pattern from Crochet Grove. I like it so much. I have zero complaints. Everything about this. The first time you do these is a little tricky. She does have videos to show you. The second time you make them, maybe still a little tricky. By the third one you made, which I whipped this one up this morning, this was no big deal at all. I knew exactly what I was doing. It's just a color change. Everything else didn't feel like a big deal. This is one of the easiest tail fins to add on of any of the patterns I did. It is super quick, and you just go from the back of the head to the back of the legs. So good. I know why people are all over this pattern. I am so excited to make a bunch more of these and take them with me to my next couple markets because I think they're going to be a hit. I can't believe I doubted them. Crochet Grove for the win. All right, guys, you'll have to let me know. Are these hot takes? Are you unhappy with my choices? Are you on Team Axolotl with me? If you have others you want me to try, I know I'm going to have to do this one again. I'm not going to do it next. We're going to do another pattern roundup. I'm going to come up with a great way to organize these somehow. But we are going to do another pattern roundup. Maybe frogs, maybe octos, maybe birds, maybe, I don't know. So many things. Froggies? I don't know. We're going to do another pattern roundup for sure. But I will probably revisit a part 2 of axolotls because there are so many. So if your favorite axolotl pattern or your axolotl fails did not make it into this video, message me over on Instagram, message me in the comments, let me know what they are, because we will be doing this again for sure, because there are so many axolotl patterns. I could make them all year, and we could talk about that nothing but them all year, but how boring would that be? Anyway, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate it more than you know. I can't wait to show you what's coming up next. I've got a bunch more plush yarns I'm gonna try. I've got Snugs and Kisses from Hobby Lobby. I've got a Himalayan Dolphin one. I've got so many new yarns coming up to show you guys. The infamous, oh my gosh, you guys, the infamous little bunny yarn. I can't wait to play around with them and tell you guys all about it. So thanks so much for hanging out with me. If you had a good time, I would really appreciate it if you subscribed. So many of you have been so amazing. Thank you so much. Click the like button, comment down below, let me know what you guys think. And I will see you very, very, very soon. Bye.